Hello, my dear students. Welcome back. Today we are going to be covering very important concept of this chapter, matter in our surroundings, जो है latent heat of vaporization, latent heat of fusion, and also how you interconvert the states of matter. Okay. Uh, if you are new to my channel, just hit the subscribe button. And so let's get started. Let's discuss this question जो मैंने last time पूछा था. Which of the following is not a property of gas? So correct answer is gas have a definite shape. Of course not. Yes, gases have no definite volume. ये correct है. The rate of diffusion is higher because particles के बीच में बहुत सारा space है. And they are also in state of random motion. If space है तो obviously वो motion में रहेंगे. उनके पास बहुत सारा space है to move around. Right? So correct answer is option A, which is gases have a definite shape. No, gases do not have a definite shape. Okay. So हम start करते हैं by the very important concept that is melting point. ठीक है. अब melting point क्या होता है? जब भी हम ice को if you keep outside, it starts melting and it gets converted into a liquid state. If you have observed it, this is what it happens, right? So basically जब हम किसी भी solid को heat करते हैं तो क्या होता है कि उसके जो particles होते हैं they start to vibrate, and when they start to vibrate what happens, their spaces, they have space to move freely, right? And if you have space which is more than solid, that is what we call as liquid, right? So उसी टेम्परेचर को जब सॉलिड अपने लिक्विड स्टेट में कन्वर्ट हो जाता है, दैट वी कॉल इट एज मेल्टिंग, और अनदर वर्ड इज फ्यूजन. Okay, so the temperature at which a solid melts is called its melting point. So the melting point of ice is 0 degrees Celsius or 273 Kelvin. Okay, this was about the melting point. Now let's talk about the important concept which is asked in the paper, that is latent heat of fusion. ठीक है. Now what is this latent heat of fusion? ठीक है. So basically हम एक experiment करने वाले हैं. What we are going to do is we are going to take a beaker. उस बीकर में वी आर गोइंग टू ऐड सम आइस. ठीक है. एंड उसके अंदर हम क्या करने वाले हैं, थर्मामीटर इंसर्ट करने वाले हैं. ओके. सो व्हेन यू विल टेक द आइस फ्रॉम द फ्रीजर, इट विल हैव सम टेम्परेचर. सपोज करो उसका कोई तो टेम्परेचर है मे बी -5 डिग्री सेल्सियस. जस्ट लेट्स अज्यूम इट. ठीक है. व्हाट आई एम गोना डू इज आफ्टर दिस आई एम गोना स्टार्ट हीटिंग इट फ्रॉम बिलो. मतलब कि ये जो आइस का बीकर है उसको आई एम गोना कीप इट फॉर हीटिंग. ठीक है. सो व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन ओवर हियर, ये जो 5 डिग्री सेल्सियस जो उसका इनिशियल टेम्परेचर था -5 डिग्री सेल्सियस, इट विल गेट कन्वर्टेड, राइट? टेम्परेचर बढ़ेगा. ठीक है. एक पॉइंट आएगा जब वो 0 डिग्री सेल्सियस होगा. यस, 0 डिग्री सेल्सियस होगा तब क्या होगा, एज वी जस्ट डिस्कस कि एट 0 डिग्री the ice starts melting. So क्या होगा, ice will start melting into the water. Correct. Now what I'm doing is I'm not stopping the heat. The heat which I am providing from below, right, I'm not stopping it. ठीक है. So what I'm observing over here, ये जो thermometer है, it is still showing me 0 degree Celsius. मतलब टेम्परेचर राइज ही नहीं हो रहा है, जबकि आई एम प्रोवाइडिंग हीट. मैं नीचे से बर्नर पे जो रखा है मैं हीट प्रोवाइड कर रही हूँ, बट स्टिल टेम्परेचर राइज नहीं हो रहा है. ठीक है. सो ये जो हीट है ये कहाँ जा रही है, वेयर इज दिस हीट गोइंग? करेक्ट. सो बेसिकली ये जो हीट होती है दैट इज टेकन अप बाय दीज आइस मॉलिक्यूल्स, और इस आइस के अंदर जो पार्टिकल्स होते हैं वो क्या करते हैं, उस हीट को एब्जॉर्ब करते हैं, एंड वो एब्जॉर्ब करके उस हीट को यूज करते हैं टू ब्रेक द फोर्स ऑफ अट्रैक्शन विच इज देयर इनसाइड इट. एज यू नो सॉलिड्स में बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा फोर्स ऑफ अट्रैक्शन होता है, इसलिए वो टाइटली पैक होते हैं. व्हेन यू प्रोवाइड हीट they will absorb this heat and then they will break it and will cause the force of attraction to break. Correct. And इसके वजह से what happens, space will increase, and that's how the ice gets converted into water, that is the liquid state. ठीक है. As this heat is getting absorbed and is not shown in the thermometer, ये जो heat है उसको हम बोलते हैं even we call it as a hidden heat. ठीक है. So as इस heat में क्या हो रहा है, the solid is getting converted into the liquid state. Is heat ko we call is, that is a hidden heat, we call it as latent heat of fusion. Okay, right? So simple hai. This is the hidden heat which is basically absorbed by those ice particles or ice to get converted into the liquid state. That we call it as latent heat of fusion, because solid is getting converted into the liquid state. Definition भी वही बोलता है, the amount of heat energy required to change 1 kg of solid into liquid at its melting point is called latent heat of fusion. Okay, if you understood latent heat of fusion, it's very easy to understand latent heat of vaporization. Okay, let's understand that. लेटेंट हीट ऑफ वेपराइजेशन पढ़ने से पहले लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड बॉइलिंग पॉइंट क्या होता है. ठीक है, जब हम लिक्विड को हीट करते हैं, व्हेन यू कीप वाटर ऑन अ बीकर ऑन अ गैस, फॉर एग्जांपल हमने वाटर का पतीला लिया है, हमने गैस पे रख दिया, व्हाट विल हैपन, जो वाटर पार्टिकल्स है दे विल स्टार्ट मूविंग, राइट, एंड एक टेम्परेचर आएगा जब पानी बॉईल होना स्टार्ट हो जाएगा. You might have observed this, right? And when it starts to boil, it also gets converted into a vapor. You can see vapors coming out, right? So जब temperature जिसमें liquid starts to boil and convert हो जाता है gaseous state में, उसी को हम बोलते हैं boiling point. ठीक है? So boiling is a bulk phenomenon as entire volume of liquid boils at once and changes to vapor. ठीक है? So temperature at which liquid starts boiling is called as boiling point. So water का boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius or 373 Kelvin, because 10 degree is equal to 273 Kelvin. So you have to just add it and you get 373 Kelvin. Okay, that is what boiling and boiling point is. Okay, now let's understand what is latent heat of vaporization. It is just similar to latent heat of fusion. Okay, let's understand the definition. Definition बोलता है heat required to change 1 kg of liquid into gas at atmospheric pressure at its boiling point is called latent heat of vaporization. ठीक है, let's understand by doing an experiment. Basically हमने वहां पे जैसे ice को लिया था and we started heating. What we are going to do over here, we are taking a beaker with water and उसको हम क्या करने वाले हैं, हीट करने के लिए रखने वाले हैं, and we are going to insert a thermometer inside it. Okay, so water का अपना एक टेम्परेचर होगा इनिशियल, राइट, एंड जब हम उसको हीट करेंगे, so the temperature will rise, right, and there will be a point where the temperature will reach 200 degree Celsius. There will be a point where it will reach 200 degree and उसके बाद क्या होगा, no further rise in temperature you can see. Okay, so now I have not stopped the heat. So कहाँ गई वो heat, right? So basically that hidden heat is taken up by those water molecules and उसके अंदर जो when they absorb that heat, right, they get converted into the gaseous state. Okay, basically वो molecules और particles वो heat को absorb कर रहे हैं to break the force of attraction between them, and if your force of attraction is breaking, so the particles will move aside, that will create a space between them, that is in turn is the gaseous state. ठीक है, so that hidden heat which is absorbed is called as latent heat of vaporization, because here liquid is getting converted to gaseous state. So that is called latent heat of vaporization. Understood? Let's understand the next important concept, that is effect of pressure on gases. अभी हमें पता है gases में क्या होता है, space बहुत होता है particles के बीच में. अगर मैं उसको अप्लाई करूंगी प्रेशर, अगर मैं फोर्स दे रही हूँ, तो क्या होगा, ये जो इंटरमॉलिक्यूलर फोर्सेस है वो क्या होंगे, वो दे विल कम क्लोजर, राइट. जस्ट लाइक कि अगर कोई क्लासरूम में बच्चे यहाँ वहां घूम रहे हैं, व्हाट इफ आई ब्रिंग देम टुगेदर at one place, basically what I'm doing, I'm decreasing the space by giving some pressure on it. If I force them to come closer, that's what happens. When you give pressure to the gas, it starts coming closer, the particle starts coming closer, and that's how it gets converted into the liquid state. सो गैसेस को लिक्विफाई करना बहुत ईजी है. जस्ट हमें क्या करना है, प्रेशर अप्लाई करना है और टेम्परेचर को कम करना है. राइट नाउ कॉम्प्रेस सॉलिड कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, जो सॉलिड कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड होती है उसको हम ड्राई आइस बोलते हैं. वो इसलिए हम उसे ड्राई आइस बोलते हैं क्योंकि अगर हम उसका प्रेशर रिड्यूस करें वो डायरेक्टली कन्वर्ट हो जाता है गैस में विदाउट अंडरगोइंग इनटू अ लिक्विड स्टेट. ओके, सो सॉलिड इज डायरेक्टली गेटिंग कन्वर्टेड इनटू द gaseous state when you compress it, right? So that is why the solid carbon dioxide is called as the dry ice. It's very important to know. Question is asked on this. Now let's understand कि how you interconvert the states of matter. हम ये करते हैं either by increasing temperature, like by changing temperature or pressure, right? अगर मैंने temperature बढ़ाया तो क्या होगा, solid liquid में convert हो जाएगा. Temperature घटाया, if I keep that liquid water into a freezer, in a in the refrigerator, what I'm doing, I'm decreasing the temperature, so that water will get converted into the solid state, right? Or by giving pressure. Just हमने पढ़ा, if you give pressure, what happens? The particles come closer, and that's how the state of matter is changed, right? So it's very important to just understand this chart because questions are asked on this. It's very important. Like you have to understand and remember this chart. When solid gets converted into a liquid state, we call it as fusion. वही liquid, if you convert it back to solid state, we call it as solidification. Liquid getting converted to gas is vaporization, and gas converting into liquid is condensation. Okay. Then similarly, gaseous state converting into solid is called sublimation, and solid getting converted into gas is also called sublimation. Okay, sublimation is the word which is used for it. Okay. And gas converted to solid we also called as deposition. So remember this, it's very important. If you practice it, it's easy to understand. Okay. So this is a question for you today. A form of matter that has no fixed shape but has a fixed small volume. An example of this form of matter is. So this is the question. Just comment down your correct answer. So that's it for today's video. If you like the video, do share it and give a subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.